And how we start is usually by talking about our meditation in the last week. When we get to you, Claire, we'll just ask a little bit about your background so you can tell us all.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
so Carol, how was your meditation last week?
So it was good. We meditated, I think, every day, and it was good. Nothing else to report.
Okay. Well, it being good is good. Okay. Okay. How about you, Cheryl?
It was not very frequent. I was moving this week and it just kind of fell off the rails a little bit.
Right.
But I am I'm going to resume. Now I'm
Okay.
settled.
Are you in a new place, Cheryl?
I am temporarily, yeah, for
But you're
3 or
still
4
in
months.
Ahihi.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you say you're temporarily as if you're going to be in some other place soon.
Well, I'm going back to where I came from. I'm renovating my place, and it's
Okay.
yeah, it's under deconstruction right now.
Okay. I understand. And it's it's hard to keep up the practice when you're in the middle of that kind of change and
Hmm.
disruption.
Hmm.
Okay. How about you, Doug?
Oh, well, I had a pretty good week. Meditated most every day and most every day, not every day, but most every day. And it was good. I had good meditations.
That's good. Now, when you have good meditations, why do you say that was a good meditation?
Um, well, I guess what I mean is that that I was really meditating. Sometimes I
Yes.
sit down to meditate and my brain will simply not shut up.
Yes.
It just keeps going, and especially if I've got something on my mind and I just can't get it out of my
Right.
mind. Uh, so I call that not so good meditations.
Sure.
The
Sure.
good ones is if I'm able to shut things down.
Yes. Yes. Understand. I was just wanted to ask because it's interesting and I think important to see what that means to you.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, I understand. It might mean different things to different people.
Right. Right. Okay. How about you, Barley?
Yeah, everything was good. I try to go back and watch what we did last week and meditate in the same way we did.
Uh
Because
huh.
your meditation starts out with a couple sentences, and then we go into quiet meditation. And sometimes the ones I find on YouTube, they talk the whole time.
Right.
So it's better to get a little start and then just be silent until the bells ring.
Okay. I'm glad you like what I do. I've thought a lot about what I do, and it seems like uh, that, when you're by yourself on your own, then what you're doing is meditating, and, there's not anyone coaching you through it. And so it seems like that's a good thing for us to do here. And I'm glad you agree. It's just me operating on instinct, basically. Okay. Now, Claire, you're here. I know you've been doing this meditation and different kind of practices for a long time. Uh, and could you give us a quick view of your background and what would you like to get out of something like a Zoom meditation class?
Well, yikes, that's a lot. Um, Background, I've been a meditator off and on, more off than on lately. Course in Miracles student for quite a while. Um, and what else?
Uh-huh.
Except that what I'd like to get is, first of all, that sense of joining with a group, which I
Hmm.
just haven't found groups that I feel comfortable with. And I know that from knowing you, at least some of you, I do feel comfortable with this. And it would be a great way to start just getting involved again.
Okay. Okay, very good. And my orientation is to try to encourage people to a regular practice because that's what really brings about the most benefits. And while you're here, then that may be something I nag you about.
Right. Yeah.
That's my job here. So we then after we do a quick check-in like we've done and talk about the last week in meditation, then we immediately dive into the meditation. And let me just get a screen up so we can have an image. And
Nice.
meditation is present moment awareness, paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non judgmentally. Feel your breath in and out. Fully receive whatever is experienced, then let it go. All right. Now let me adjust my screen. Now today I'll read more stories from 101 Zen Stories that I found in Zen Flesh Zen Bones by Paul Reps. This was the first book that I had read with spiritual content, and I read it when I was about 22. This week are stories that illustrate Zen practice. The first is called Muddy Road. Tanzan and Ikaido were once traveling together down a muddy road. A heavy rain was still falling. Coming around a bend, they met a lovely girl in a silk kimono and sash, unable to cross the intersection. "Come on, girl," said Tanzan at once, lifting her in his arms. He carried her over the mud. Ikaido did not speak again until that night when they reached a lodging temple. When he could no longer restrain himself, he said, "We monks don't go near females," he told Townsend, "especially not young and lovely ones. It's dangerous. Why did you do that?" He told, "Why did you do that?" "I left the girl there," said Tanzin. "Are you still carrying her?" Mindfulness teaches to experience what is there and then let it go when it passes. This story illustrates this approach and what happens when you keep carrying something after it's gone. The next story is Every Minute Zen. Zen students are with their masters for at least 10 years before they presume to teach others. Nanin was visited by Tenno, who, having passed his apprenticeship, had become a teacher. The day happened to be rainy, so Tenno wore wooden clogs and carried an umbrella. After greeting him, Nanin remarked, "I suppose you left your wooden clogs in the vestibule. I want to know if your umbrella is on the right or the left side of the clogs." Tenno, confused, had no instant answer. He realized that he was unable to carry his Zen every minute. He became Nanin's pupil, and he studied 6 more years to accomplish his every minute Zen. Now, every minute Zen is something we can do in our own life. It's a skill that can be practiced, and then it'll become a habit. With every minute Zen, you find your mind will become much quieter and you'll be much more in the present moment. The opposite of every minute Zen is living in memories or plans or fears about the future. The next story is how grass and trees become enlightened. During the Kamkurra period, Shinkan studied Tendai 6 years and then studied Zen 7 years and then went to China and contemplated Zen for 13 years more. When he returned to Japan, many desired to interview him and ask obscure questions. But when Shinkan received visitors, which was infrequently, he seldom answered their questions. One day, a 50-year-old student of enlightenment said to Shinkan, I have studied the Tendai school of thought since I was a little boy, but one thing in it I cannot understand. Tendai claims that even the grass and trees will become enlightened. To me, this seems very strange. Of what use is it to discuss how grass and trees become enlightened? Asked Shinkan. The question is how you yourself can become so. Did you ever consider that? I never thought of it in that way, marveled the old man. Then go home and think it over, finished Shinkan. The point of this story is something that all of you know. The way to learn about meditation is to actually meditate. It is a matter of your own direct experience, not what you think about it, not what you learn about it. These can help you direct your attention when you meditate, but they're not a substitute for the actual experience. The last story is a little longer. The name of it is The Taste of Banzo's Sword. Mataguro Yagyu was the son of a famous swordsman. His father, believing that his son's work was too mediocre to anticipate mastership, disowned him. So Matajuro went to Mount Fuha and there found the famous swordsman Banzo. But Banzo confirmed the father's judgment. You wish to learn swordsmanship under my guidance? Asked Banzo. You cannot fulfill the requirements. But if I work hard, how many years will it take me to become a master? Persisted the youth. The rest of your life, replied Banzo. I cannot wait that long, explained Matajuro. I'm willing to pass through any hardship if only you will teach me. I'll become your devoted servant. How long might it be? Oh, maybe 10 years, Banzo relented. My father is getting old, and soon I must take care of him, continued Matajuro. If I work far more intensely, how long would it take me? Oh, maybe 30 years, said Banzo. Why is that? Asked Matajuro. First you say 10, now 30 years. I will undergo any hardship to master this art in the shortest time. Well, said Bonzo, in that case you will have to remain with me for 70 years. A man in such a hurry as you are to get results seldom learns quickly. Very well, declared the youth, understanding at last that he was being rebuked for impatience. I agree. Matajuro was told never to speak of fencing and never to touch a sword. He cooked for his master, washed the dishes, made his bed, cleaned the yard, cared for the garden, all without a word of swordsmanship. 3 years passed. Still Matajuro labored on. Thinking of his future, he was sad. He had not even begun to learn the art to which he had devoted his life. One day, Matajuro was washing a pan, and he discovered if he got it really clean, he could see the reflection of his face. After that, he had much greater zeal with washing pots and pans. Soon after, one day Banzo crept up behind him and gave him a terrific blow with a wooden sword. The following day, when Matajuro was cooking, Banzo again sprang upon him unexpectedly. He said, "Now you are ready." After that, day and night, Matajuro had to defend himself from unexpected thrusts. Not a moment passed in any day that he did not have to think about the taste of Banzo's sword. He learned so rapidly, he brought smiles to the face of his master. Matajuro became the greatest swordsman in the land. And so only when Matajuro let go of his old ideas and ambitions and could lose himself in what he was doing was he ready. The more he wanted it, the further away it was. Now, what can you learn from this story of a swordsman? Now, in the kind of Zen style that we are doing today, next we'll have a video from Valorian, and it's entitled Shoshin, Beginner's Mind, the Zen Approach to Grow Faster.
There is a concept in Zen Buddhism known as Shoshin, which means beginner's mind. Shoshin refers to the idea of letting go of your preconceptions and having an attitude of openness when studying a subject. By approaching life with Shoshin, we can grow and learn faster. Zen Buddhism teaches the concept of beginner's mind as a positive attribute, something to cultivate. When you are a true beginner, your mind is empty and open. You're willing to learn and consider all pieces of information, like a child discovering something for the first time. As you develop knowledge and expertise, however, your mind naturally becomes more closed. You tend to think, "I already know how to do this," and you become less open to new information. There is a danger that comes with expertise. We tend to block the information that disagrees with what we've learned previously and yield to the information that confirms our current approach. We think we're learning, but in reality we are steamrolling through information and conversations, waiting until we hear something that matches up with our current philosophy or previous experience, cherry-picking information to justify our current behaviors and beliefs. Most people don't want new information, they want validating information. Science agrees on that. In a paper about earned dogmatism, which appeared in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology in November 2015, the author reports on a series of experiments he conducted showing that self-perceptions of expertise increase close-minded cognition. In other words, science says those who think they are experts are more likely to be close-minded. The problem is that when you're an expert, you actually need to pay more attention, not less. Because when you are already familiar with 98% of the information on a topic, you need to listen very carefully to pick up on the remaining 2%. So how can you develop a beginner's mind, a mind open to many possibilities, a mind ready to ask questions? Take one step at a time. It is important to not rush to the goal, but to take your time to think and explore. Fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. When a new approach fails, don't immediately get conservative and stick to what you did before just because you failed once. Perseverance is key. Do not prejudge. Keep an open mind to new suggestions and ideas that might not be close to the thoughts you would have had in a given situation. Wonderful things might happen when you give up on the notion to judge before things have played out. Live without shoulds. When we tell ourselves that things should be a certain way or should be done a certain way, we immediately take away a wide array of options. There is no should in the beginner's mind, only could. Let go of being an expert. Assume that you are new to the topic even if you already know a lot about it, and start the journey of exploring the field from different angles like a beginner would do. Discard fear of failure. Failing is normal and necessary to see which options absolutely do not work. If you are not afraid of it, being perseverant becomes easy. Focus on questions, not answers. Asking new questions that you don't have the answer to can give you new perspectives on things previously known. The essence of Shoshin is to rediscover and explore things we deem to be fully known to us. This extends to all areas of life. With a beginner's mind, you will be more open to possibilities and more creative. You will also form closer bonds with others in your life as they experience your interest in them and your appreciation for their thoughts and ideas. Shoshin can add great value to your life as long as you stay open and stay valorous.
Now, I'll talk more about beginner's mind in a future session. There's a Korean Zen teacher that I have a lot of respect for. His name is Sung Sung, and he was asked, "What is practice?" And he said, "Don't know." So I think he was speaking of this same thing that we heard of in that video about beginner's mind. Real spiritual practice is putting yourself in a position where your mind is open and receptive, and you can't do that if you know already. So, thus the focus in Zen on this beginner's mind. And now we will have our final meditation. And notice your mind. It has so many thoughts. Now, notice the empty space, the neutral, uninvolved awareness that noticed the mind's activity. Stay with this empty space. Once you start noticing it, you might see its presence under your breath as you breathe in and out. When thoughts come again, notice the space between the thoughts and stay with that empty space. Let go of the thoughts. right. Let us close with a short chant. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace. All right. Any questions or comments or discussion?
No, I wanted to say hi to Doogie though.
Oh, I see Doogie. He
Go
was,
figure.
Oh,
I gave
was
him a bone before this, thinking he'd stay away. He came and got on my lap and has sat quietly through the whole thing.
Well, he
well,
likes
that's
meditating.
good. Good dog.
He's a better meditator than somebody else.
So do I.
Now, I hope you're enjoying these Zen stories.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the reasons I hope is we're going to have one more session. There's still some more of these Zen stories that I want to uh, read to you guys. And I want to read them. I think they're worthwhile.
Yeah, I like them. I did want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
How do you define Zen?
The first part of Zen is its name, and its name is taken from really a Sanskrit word, dhyana, and which means meditation. And so the heart of Zen practice is meditation and the kind of meditation that we're doing now. So
Okay.
I don't, beyond that, I think it's hard to define.
It's
Come on,
a
Teach, you can do
term.
better than that.
Well, that's what I got.
Is it the Japanese?
We'll go on Google and answer it
Yeah.
for you next
And
week.
it'll know what I know about the history of Zen. Zen really started in China with Chan Buddhism brought by this guy, legendary figure Bodhidharma, about 600 AD in China. And Buddhism became so popular in China that by 200 years later, uh, the emperor was afraid that they weren't going to be able to have enough manpower to bring in the year's rice crop. And so at that time, many orders of Zen, of Buddhism, operated by getting donations for food and things like that. And the emperor forbade any kind of religious institution that operated based on these kind of donations. So only a few places remained, and these were places that were basically doing their own food production. So it became so popular in China that the emperor had to shut it down. Then a few hundred years later, it migrated to Japan and was really mainly taken up in Japan by the samurai class. And they were, besides warriors, they were the guys practicing Zen and also playing the game of Go, this intellectual game. And the samurai class did it because they didn't have to work for a living. And all the other people in Japan did. And so, besides being the warriors, they were the leisure class and they had the time to do stuff like this. But knowing the history doesn't tell you anything about it.
Yeah.
We'll look it up.
Okay, and when you find out, tell me.
Right.
Okay.
Any others? We're here for you. Then come back next week and we'll continue. And I have a few more Zen stories, and then we'll get on to something else. And if you want, Claire, hang around after people leave and we can chat.
Good, I will, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Good to see
Thank
you
you,
all.
guys.
Thank you, Richard.
Everybody.
Okay.